All right. It is 7 o'clock, and I think we're just going to jump right in and get started. So once again, welcome everyone to the Tony A Artistry Workshop for music production and engineering. It's truly grateful to be able to provide this as a platform or use this as a platform to be able to help uh, artists as we band together and just continue to create a better working environment for ourselves and for other artists around us. Um, I am LeVar Harris Jr. I am a Tony Artistry member as well as the CEO of Battle Dynasty Records Incorporated. So what we're about to work through, and what we're about to talk to right now is literally what I live and breathe all the time. I'm steadily learning more and more, or teaching myself more and more, and going out to seek more guidance on all the latest and newest of the industries right now. So um, jumping right into it, all right. The first when we first talk about music production and engineering, I wanted to try to break down exactly what it is. It is two separate entities completely. The music production part of it is more so the concept, more so the create, the getting the idea, the vision of the music itself, and walking through each step of the process and trying to maintain the validity of that initial concept, trying to make sure that the dream stays alive throughout each part of the music process, while the engineering portion is pretty much um, the the person who takes the concept or the vision and puts it into like hardware. They make that concept a reality in a sense by taking the sound and manipulating that sound or embellishing that sound a bit to get it to where it fits the vision, it fits the dream. Um, and I believe that to break it down into some of this forms, there are four creative parts to the entire music production and engineering sector. Um, it it all begins with or in the beginning with the song or music writing of itself, how the writing is, or how that music is composed in the beginning, and it continues to press through the entire process from the songwriting to the recording part to actually breaking it down in the mixing of it and building upon those tracks, and the mastering of it, finishing and like quote unquote finalizing the entire piece as one. I wanted to tonight to focus on what's called a DAW, because most people have different opinions on what they think is the most important, like, or the number one like part, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, or the number one need when getting it together. People are like, well, should I look at like what mics I'm buying, what studio setup do I buy? Do I try to figure out all the instruments first? And honestly, there's no right or wrong answer to it. Um, as you can see, I work with a number of different mics just because again I'm feeling things out, I'm learning things together. I initially started with Presonus, and at the same time that I started with Presonus, a friend of mine started with a completely different DAW system. They started with Logic, and we were able to work through and see how both of these um, systems, or both of these workstations were did the exact same thing, or were to get to the exact same goals, worked, and how what we liked about one, what we didn't like about one, and just comparing it. But all to round it all off, there's no one that's like, this is the one you need, this is the DAW system you need, this is the toolkit you need to work with. I can feel my heart slowing down a bit, so I'm gonna start getting back on track. I'm gonna break it down just a little bit more. Um, DAW stands for your digital audio workplace. And so I want to share a picture actually really quickly, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about and it not sound completely foreign. No, yeah, I'm just so when you first open a DAW system, you're kind of looking at something like this. It's it's a platform, and it's a clear thinking space for you as an artist, for you as a musician, for you as an engineer to start from ground zero. You see that it doesn't you see all of these working tools up here. It doesn't look overly complicated because the process hasn't yet begun. You are working in a fresh office space. Think of it as if you just moved into, I mean, you just started at a new job and you moved into your small cubicle. You know that this is the area and range in which all of your magic happens, all of your creations, all of your thoughts go down on paper, right? This is your paper platform. Most people, I would always say, I think is the easy part about it is that make sure your DOS system, whatever you use, is easily readable to you. Um, and by that I mean, I know I know I can go into this is Pro Tools. I'm sorry if I didn't say that before. I can go into Pro Tools and quite easily find where my tracks are or where my inserts are, stuff like that. That's the type of like the type of relationship you want to have with your DAW system. You want to know where things are and it not be overcomplicated. I can't do the same thing with Logic that I can do with Pro Tools because I mean just simply because of the time period, the time frame that I spent working with this. So you want to find something that works well for you. If you actually absolutely want to start in like, I believe the most basic formatting of DAW systems, use something like Soundtrap. I believe that quite a few of us on this call have at least experienced Soundtrap one way or the other, quite briefly. But it's very simple. It doesn't have all of the I don't want to say like cool. It doesn't have all like so many different things for you to get hooked up on. It's basic. It's I can show you how to record. I can show it walks you through how to record, how to maybe transpose tracks, insert different music tracks, but it won't add too much to your plate at one time. So I think I'm kind of like beating this dead horse a bit, but again, I'm going to say it because it's very important. Make sure you get a DAW system or a digital audio workspace that works well for you. Asking people and getting their opinion on it is fine and dandy, but you want to find what's good for you. I'm going to stop this for a quick second. There are a couple of different methods or ways you can go about learning these DAW systems. My first thing is always going to be make sure you yourself are listening to music. Don't just start working on your own music, willy-nilly. Don't go in and say, hey, I'm just going to figure this thing out. Listen to other types of music that are fitting in your style. They're fitting in like your comfort of workspace, your workspace. Like if I'm doing R&B, listen to other R&B music and try to develop your ear to be able to hear what's going on within the music. You not just, oh, I like the lyrics any longer. When you're focusing on the music production and engineering side of it, listen to the music. You got to be able to pull out different instrument sounds you may hear. Pull out when there may be like a certain fluctuations on sounds or just different how sounds move differently within the music. Now you'll begin to notice it. You'll be able to pull out things better and be able to develop that ear for music, so that when you begin to compare it to other music, when you begin to compare it to your music, you can then say, oh no, I know what I'm going for because I know how that's supposed to sound. And though I may not know exactly how to get it there, I can now sort of finagle or learn as I go with already having that concept in my head. When you're just doing things without even having a thought pattern on where to go, you'll end up just mixing a bunch of different things and never really like learning a track or learning a trait on the way. I don't know if this is making sense. Am I making sense to anybody? Please confirm what I said. So yeah, developing that ear for music is definitely a big one. Number two, I would say you need to and you have to find a sound. It is good to be able to, I mean, it's good to be okay with like all genres, being able to mix and master and and engineer all genres is cool. But when you become great at one, like being great at one is way better than being okay at a bunch of other ones. And that's how like you'll begin to it'll become easy. So if I'm working right now, let's say I'm working in R&B and I'm listening to R&B and I'm learning the trade secrets of R&B because I'm putting my ear to the music and I'm trying to take it as much as I possibly can from other producers. I'm picking up on what on what they're putting down. I can focus a little bit more if I pick a genre, if I pick my pleasure. You get what I'm saying? Not all music is done the same. Gospel music, you understand, like when mixing and mastering a gospel song, it'll be completely different than mixing and mastering, so a rap song or neo soul or R&B. They're not one and the same. Music is not just straight cut and dry like that. So you definitely, even if you're not even at the point where you're mixing and mastering your own music, but you're going to somebody to mix and master, make sure they have experience in the genres you're working with. They can show you all the rap they want to show you that they done did. If they never did this ballad for you, or if they never did gospel music, then it doesn't equate to the same thing. So make sure you have that you have that even when you're going to look for an engineer to work on your music. Let me see. I said develop an ear, finding your sound, and in finding your sound, make sure you finding your people that you can actually glean from, producers who you actually listen to and you like their work. Making sure you pick out those people, because having somebody who like they don't even have to know you, you're their mentor or they're your mentor. They don't even have to know you, but just finding somebody that you can stick to and you can also see that their growth and your growth in yourself. That's always a plus. I think I pretty much hit both of those, unless I'm ready to dive into the DOS system actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up and share my screen one more time. And this time when I share my screen, it's gonna look a little different. And I want to let you know that what you're gonna be looking at is it's going to be a DOS system that I just showed you guys before, but this time it's going to be as if we were actively working in it. Now, I wanted to actually do some work in one tonight, but for whatever reason, I can't get the sound for the DAW system. It takes over the sound for the Zoom, so I won't be able to do that. But I did take pictures and snip so that you guys will be able to see it. So I'm gonna share real quickly right now one of the snips. I don't know. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you can see this, right? Perfect. So with this is what I, oh wow, slow down a little more. This is a picture taken or a screenshot of the open DAW for Pro Tools. And what I wanted to show you is that, where's my mouse? Am I moving my mouse on your screen right now? So D, can you see my mouse move? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Are y'all still hearing me? Did I drop out?
I still hear you.
Oh man, my bad. Okay, so what y'all seeing right here, these are open tracks from the DAW system. And what I wanted to point your attention to first are how these tracks are named and ordered. You can always set up exactly like whether you want it to be, hey, this is going to be my leads really quickly. You go ahead and record your lead track. You can name it and set it in, and make sure you keep in track of of the titles of these stems, because that's essentially what they are. When want to move or export them, you're going to export them as stems or a complete mixed down project. And so you definitely want to have it together. You want to know what it is. Naming it should always be one of those top priority things. And then you have smaller icons underneath it, identifying for you to be able to record, isolate it. What is it? Record, isolate, mute, and I think this one is like tracking. So you'll be able to track the track and essentially. But when recording it, you're gonna typically want to find that that this first circle is always highlighted so that you know you're recording. It'll highlight into a red, and you'll know that that's the live track. You can also see on this side, this should also have an input if you're actively recording. So making sure those things are lined up before you're getting started is a must. Now, once you have it, once you're in and you've recorded some tracks and you're thinking that, you know, I'm ready to move on with in the process of mixing and mashing and doing all the neat stuff. The first thing that I came to realize was that I discovered on my own were these things called inserts. My goodness. It's like once I opened up the world of inserts, an endless array of just music stuff just came flying at me. And so I began to like dive into and try to figure out what each and every single thing was. And so this right here with this small little square screen that you see in the middle of the DAW system is one of the things that pops up. And I feel like it was one of the things that drew my attention to the most. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this and talk about it a little bit and give us some attention. This is the screen for that digital reverb. Now, a lot of times when we hear reverb, you start to think of like, or you compare it to like an echo or like just like that wonky, like we're in the background sort of noise thing. And essentially like on a very like minute level, essentially like, yeah, that's what it is. But there's so much more, or there's so many more options or opportunities when you begin to understand the reverb or how reverb actually works. So initially, actually, do I want to like reverb first or okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So this little knob right here in the middle is called the decay, and the decay is what sets the time. I'm sorry, it sets the time that it takes for your signal or frequency to fall completely from like, what is it? Wait, sorry, I'm trying to remember. It sets the time it takes for your signal frequency to fall from 100% amplitude to your desired location. And so like it'll create sort of like a linger, or like if I was to throw my voice and if I was speaking now to throw my voice, how you would hear it, like as an echoing or a lingering array before it completely falls, before it completely drops off. Now, in doing so, with what I love about Pro Tools is that it gives you the options on how your voice is sort of like thrown, or how it's sort of decaying is such a bad word to use. I don't know how it lingers, and so at the top, right above the decay, I'm pointing at it like you can see me. Right above the decay knob, you have the reverb, and I call them rooms. I don't know if that's what the intent was, but that's exactly, they look like they are reverb rooms, and it pretty much alters or changes how the sound will come out depending upon where you were located or where you were located. And so if you were in a small hallway, how that sound would linger or how it would echo would be a lot different from would be a lot different than if you were in a humongous cathedral and you were to give that same energy off. So messing around and like just really just figuring out what type of surround, or is it ambient sound? I don't know, that's what I'm looking for, but what kind of like echoing or surround sound that you're looking for, you're typically you can typically like bounce around with that and check it out. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna be surprised because no one particular like spacing sounds alike, and that's what I love about it. Like everything gives its own unique feel or own unique. Since this is, I really do. Next time I'm gonna have it to where I'm able to play it for you guys. You guys can get a peek for it. I didn't know that it was gonna be like this today, but forgive me anyway. Now, right under that decay knob, all of this, like all of this really does work in conjunction really well. I hope I'm explaining it well. If not, forgive me. But right underneath the decay knob, you have the mix, and that's like inside the mix, that where you go from 100% wet to like 0% dry. It's really about how much of that natural tone is coming through with that decay. So if I was to, as of right now, you can see that that mix is all the way at 100%, right? Which means that a lot of my the natural tone or the natural sound is going to be like covered, or I don't want to say, like it won't, it's not washed out. It's not the word I was going. It's not a good word at all. But it's definitely like covered or like sheltered around. So you're not going to get a lot of that raw or that raw mix. It'll just be. I mean, as opposed to, thank you, as opposed to it being down or 100 or at 0% dry. 0% dry is where you're getting all of that. I'm sorry, go back upstairs, baby. All of that just raw sound. I'm sorry, my kids. I'm gonna actually hold on. Sorry, one more time. I'm gonna switch the screen really quickly. And then you have on this, sorry, can you get the screen change for y'all?
Nope.
Did it change? Warren?
No, it ain't changed.
Okay, let me. Now it did, right?
Oh, now it did. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, the next thing that I came to like to discover, and still the same inserts and stuff like that, was like it was the D3 compressor the compressor and limiter. I forget what the D3 stands for right now. I'm drawing a blank. It's like Dyno 3 or something like.
That's distortion, right?
There we go. Wait a minute. So, well, I'm sorry. You said it was distortion.
Yeah.
The distortion, the compressor and limiter. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. Cause I didn't have that one at first. But here, you're gonna also find a lot more knobs, and of course I like to mess around and figure things out. So I'm figuring things out. The big red one, of course, drew my attention first, and that is your gain. So gain is how much input you're putting into the system. Okay, is how much input you're giving into the system. So usually, like if I was to record something, or I'm recording something right now, I don't know if y'all can see this, but I also, wow. Okay, so you can't use backdrops when trying to show props, but I use an audio box from Persona's audio box when doing a lot of my recording. And there's some things on the audio box that may work similar and hand in hand with the DAW system, but with the gain, it allows me to be able to control like just how much sound is going into systems, so that typically, like when you hear I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but when you hear like distortions within the speakers or distortions within the console interface, it's because your gain is you're giving the system way too much input. And when you give the system too much input that it can't balance it all, you'll begin to get that distortion or popping effect. And a lot of times, when you monitor how much sound or how much input you're giving the system by controlling how much gain you have on the input. Also, when you start talking about that threshold, that yellow button in the corner, you start talking about that threshold. You're talking about the amount. I'm sorry, the level or the amount of signal that's needed for the compression to actually begin working. When you start to work, when you're working with compressions and stuff like that, there's a certain level. It can't, if you're barely, or your sound is barely hitting a certain level, then a lot of the compressions on it won't affect the sound whatsoever, and it'll just pass as that raw sound anyway. But when you begin to hit that threshold, when you begin to hit a certain threshold, then the compression begins to be able to work in a certain manner. So controlling like where that threshold is, or how high that threshold is really that's where you'll find that at. God, I don't feel like all right. Well, before say anything more, are there any questions or anything like that anybody wants to throw out there first?
I just think it's very informative. You're doing a good job, man.
I appreciate that, man, because I'm over here stressing myself out. But I'm sorry. I appreciate that. Is there anything else? Any questions? Anybody got any thoughts or comments on anything that was said? Perfect. So I know I didn't talk a little bit about the DAW, or the DAW, the digital audio workstation, however you want to put it, for a little bit now. And I began to say, like, I started saying that there's no one digital workstation for everybody. Let's go into finding how we can find your perfect, or your digital workstation to work with, a digital audio workstation to work with. First thing that I would say is definitely make sure that you're working how much you can handle and your budget at the time. So like look for DAWs that have, or that offer trials. Honestly, being able to try out a digital audio workstation before paying hundreds of dollars for it, or paying monthly for however it may work, will definitely teach you or help you out in finding that DAW system that works for you. It's easier to learn or pick up on something if you're not. How do I best say it? If you're trying to find a system that works for you, look for the ones with trials, so that you can give it that 30 days, that 14, however many days they may offer to learn it. And if it seems like something, okay, you want to stick with, then, jump in with that one. But again, there's no one way to do it. I know for a fact, like I said, I actually started with Studio One, Studio One through PreSonus. And now I currently use Pro Tools, but some people would highly recommend Pro Tools and Logic and FL Studios. They are great systems to work with. I think I've had the opportunity to work on all those. I've also had the opportunity to work on the soundtracks though. I've working on GarageBand. Those work just as well. Just they may have limited features, so you won't necessarily be worrying about some of all the added, like, what are they, like, I don't want to say, like, make it sound like cool things, but like all the added extra stuff to it. You can work on that when, in a later time when you can, upgrade or whatnot, but that don't let it stop you now from being able to just figure out the system. I actually didn't prep too, I prepped this up for like a couple sessions, and so I'm pretty much through session one. So I'm hoping that somebody got some questions or got some type of something to say back.
Yeah, when did you start like working with music for real, as far as the engineering part.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you. So I actually didn't do like the whole engineering part until about 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah. Um, Before then, I was all about like just just writing music or like trying to learn how to play the piano and get some drums together. Never really like thought too much about the uh what goes into the engineering part because I was I never really made it that far yet in music to understand. So when I finally did jump into it in 2020, it was sort of like, no, I want to be solely independent. I want to do this on my own. Let me dive into it. And when I did, bro, it engulfed me so much. Like it's so much learning. I'm still learning every day. I love it. I won't give it up for nothing. Go ahead, Shantia Bolden. Got a question? Just hand it.
Is Fruity Loops still a thing? Is that something that people still use?
Yes. So they now go by FL Studio. And that's literally, like I said, what I said earlier, one of those top digital audio workstations that people are using now. Fruity Loops now go by FL Studio. Really nice.
And is the XLR board still the same or has it like changed over the years? I haven't used an XLR board since high school, but it was like the XLR, yeah, the XLR switch mix board. Is it like still the same or is it different?
So I mean, all boards essentially are the same and different. all all of them essentially like are. It depends on what you're looking for. So um, you can find boards that may offer different types of, I mean, or a number of like inputs. Then versus one board, you can find a board that may offer different those different added things that like I was showing you on the pictures where how the more I click, the more little knobs came up. You find out things that what it does. So you might find boards that have extra hardware or software built into it, but essentially most of the boards all are capable of recording and the minimum of um, engineering for sound, pretty much. If I hope that answers your question. If not, then I'll say then yes. This probably been
It
some
did. Is there a
perfect.
particular mic you like to use? Like, is there a particular type of mic that you prefer when recording?
So actually, I am literally right now going through the process of identifying what mics I like and why. So I've used I'm literally reaching around right now and just grabbing mics because I tend to use a number of mics just depending upon like um especially when I'm recording how it's currently sounding or if I want. A lot of times I find myself I'm trying to consolidate my thoughts but I'm still speaking at the same time. Hold on. A lot of times I find myself liking to use like the mics that have the direct like frontal recording to where like it's not just a bunch of surround, but you have to be like you have to hit it from a certain point. Um, Only because I feel like I'm not I the way my voice works forward works well for me. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's in layman's terms, you have to pretty much try out and find your mic. Um, I think I've seen some pretty cool mics out. One of my favorites that I've seen has been like this Bumblebee one, but when I tried it for sound, I didn't like the way I sound in it. So again, it's just finding what your sound is again. But one of anything I use a five, what is this called? A fifth something and a Presonus mic. I also have like three more different ones, but they're not important right now. Can y'all see this mic? There you go.
A little bit.
Look, next time I know I can't have this background on either because it takes on. I can't use my props.
Okay, this is my last question. What are your recommendations for studio jitters? Like, how do you get past studio jitters or studio nerves?
Oh, so take this how you will, but I typically have the same mindset with a lot of things. Okay, when it comes to like nerves and stuff like that, you can't like overcome them or get past them without enduring this. So if you have studio nerves, then you have to get in the studio. You know, if I feel like if you have stage or stage fright from performing on the stage, whatever, you have to get on the stage. There's no way you can say that you overcome it unless you put yourself in it. Now that's just me. What I will say though, leading up to that moment, you can practice for these moments. You can go in and like set aside a time for you to go into your home studio and treat it like it's you going into the studio on your dime, on your dollar, making sure you're well prepared when you go in there. Studio time, I don't think people factor in the fact that you pay studio time typically by the hour, and you don't want to spend a lot of your studio time prepping. You don't want to get in there trying and waste a lot of time on things that you could have done at home. So making sure that you've prepped yourself for the studio. Y'all, we're not coming here to rehearse lyrics. We know the words. Well, we're not coming in here to find, to work on our notes. We know our notes. We know where we're supposed to be at, and we're here about our business to do our business. You know what I'm saying? Confidence really just is probably that. Just making sure you've prepared yourself enough to where you are confident you know what you're doing when you're going into the studio.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
I greatly appreciate you taking part. Is there anyone else? I'm grateful. I see everybody who's jumped in on this call. And I'm looking now that I mess with the mic. I can't keep it out my face. I'm grateful for everybody who jumped on this call. Really. Is there anyone else? I feel like I have a vast of knowledge prepared. Just didn't design a way to really push it all out at once. But literally, we've already worked out how the plan for these sessions would go. So I can at least tell you I got two or three more of these sessions prepped on deck for you. It's gonna get good. I really would like to know about and if at any point in time you guys have ideas or thoughts that go into music production and engineering that you guys want to learn more about. If you guys say, hey, I'm not really I don't really need too much about mixing, but I really got to figure out what the heck mastering is, because it's they are two different things. Say that and drop that in there. Let me know so we can tailor these workshops to the people that are coming.
That was definitely one of my questions. Like, what exactly is what goes into the mixing and mastering process? Why is it so important? And why is that portion of making a CD so expensive? Well, it's more than the actual, like, everything else that goes into the production process. And what are you looking for in the mixing and mastering process?
So I would say when it comes to like being ready to release a song, you've gotten it to where your recording parts, you feel like they are where they should be, and that's like, I'm ready to push this out. Before you can release it, you will go through mixing process and a mastering process. That is like your tie, your final wipe, and you're tying on the bow to a car, a new car is about to sell. That is your finalizing of the product. Now, when you're mixing and mastering, what you're looking to see is that the music is the output is of the same quality or better than the current not market. Market is not the word I was looking for. Then what's currently out. You want to make sure that your product has the quality, the industry quality. Thank you. It has the industry quality that you're looking for. You're looking for like whether or not my tracks are equal in balance like they should be. Am I overhearing my certain parts, or some parts louder or too loud, or drowning out another, or some parts too soft and they're hiding behind another. This is where you're harnessing that each individual piece of that song, and you're making it, you're jointly fitting it together to make one whole, picture, one whole piece, one whole puzzle. It's just sort of, yeah, this is the finishing touches on the baby. You know, that I think that's, hopefully I didn't go too far over on what you were asking. But yeah, that's what you're listening for, and that's what you want. Those are those last few touches that you want to iron out before your music is fully released and out for everyone to hear. I know a lot of people like to use the E-Masters, and I'm pretty sure there's others, but E-Masters is so popular. How they have their one-stop shop, quick mix and master. You drop your track in there and it does little magic stuff, and out comes a mixed and mastered track. And that is cool in the beginning, like it's an easy fix, but it's not. Honestly, it does that process may do a lot of. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm sorry. But that's just like using it for like using a factory set or preset thing for all products. It doesn't work as well, or it's not going to give you the quality that you can give your music individually if you take the time to go through and develop that keen ear and put those pieces together, glue those pieces together like they should be, like they can be, and not just, hey, this is thrown together because it's a factory copy of it. Does that make sense?
Just like you said before, you can have 4 tracks. You can have a 4 or 5 track EP, and every track need to be mixed differently.
Right. There's no cookie cutter way to do it, really. That's mixing and mastering is where I feel like the love and the tender care is really put into the track. Of course, you emote and you give your feel into the track on during the recording part and the songwriting, but you take care of that feeling, and you wrap that feeling up in a great, graceful and deliverable fashion in that mixing and mastering, final editing part. Anything else? Yeah, we got time. I'm not gonna hold it open like that too long, but we do got a little bit of time. Anybody else got anything? Any inputs you want to give on it? If you feel like I touched on a topic, but you ready to drop some knowledge on me about something, feel free. These workshops are literally a time for us to come together and work together and learn and hone in on this craft together. So, but yeah, if y'all have anything, please. No? Cool. Well, it is 43 past the hour. I told y'all I wasn't gonna be here long, and I did promise our executive director that I wasn't gonna be here long, but we will be back first Wednesday of every month. Am I right? It's only the first Wednesday, right? Not first and third. First Wednesday of every month, I will be right here in this room. We're going to learn more about this mixing. Not mixing, mastering, music production and engineering. Like I said, hitting it from the beginning, music production engineering takes care of the entire process of this of music making, from the beginning of the conceptualizing the music to the end of making sure it's finalized and ready to go out to everybody. So we got a lot to talk about, and we plan to jump right back in the next month. So please meet us here 7 o'clock every first Wednesday. Thank you to Tony A Artistry for hosting this workshop, and I hope to see you all soon.
Yeah.
Before I go, I'm sorry.
Back. And I just wanted to say one thing too. I definitely like this workshop, because I have my workshop after this one.
Mm.
You know, so the art and history of hip hop is coming up Thursday. That'll be every,
Awesome.
I think, second or first one of them, but it's coming up, and it's really piggybacks on a lot of this too. Because I'm gonna
Yeah,
break down the art, where it came from, how I did it. I'm breaking down lyrics. I'm breaking down rhyme patterns, everything. So if you
perfect.
definitely, if you see this one, you got to catch that one too.
Most definitely. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. You got to catch it. Um, Once again, I want to thank everybody for their time and giving their time in tonight and coming to take part in this workshop. I know before we were before he had to step out, Mr. Anthony had talked to me about make sure I got this exit survey out, and he put it in the chat. Does anybody currently see a link in the chat for the exit survey? Because I think when I got kicked out earlier, I might have lost it. No. All right. Well, this is what I'll do. I'll take the link that I'll get it from him after this call is over, and I'll take that link and I'll place that link inside of the TAA group for music engineering, music production engineering. It's in one of the. I'm gonna place it in the hub, and I would love for you guys to go check out that hub. And if nothing more, check out that exit survey. Fill that out for me. Let me know what you guys think, how you guys would love to move forward with these courses. If you guys have something you think I should be hitting on, put it right there in that exit survey. And again, I'll see you guys on the very next workshop with my brother, Mr. Warren Bowden. You guys have a good one, all right? Good night, everyone.
Have a good one too.